I'm found in this office by myself with
having to raise $300 million.
$300 million, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I know she was going to give me a piece of cake. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, you know what? After all that I've been through, this is a piece of cake.
Welcome to Gamechangers Live from Miami, Florida. My name is Sergio Tigera. I'm your host. And each and every week, we bring you someone who has been a game changer in their field and who's touched the lives of thousands to get their perspective on their journey, their mindset, their struggles and successes so that we can inspire you on your journey. So let's get started right now. Each and every week, we bring you people who have been game changers in their field. And this week, my special guest is hometown hero and business consultant, attorney, entrepreneur, and Renaissance woman, Lucy Morillo. Hi, Lucy. How are you?
Hi, Sergio. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today.
Yeah, of course. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Lucy. If you don't know her, she's a C-level business executive, attorney, and entrepreneur with proven global experience establishing managing and growing new enterprises, private companies, and non-for-profit organizations. She's a bar-certified attorney in the state of Florida for more than 20 years, and she leverages her judicial knowledge to provide executive and strategic coaching, as well as ethical and legal direction to leadership teams in search of mindful and innovative solutions. And many of you know Lucy from her time at Miami Children's Health Foundation, where she served as president and CEO from 2007 to 2016. Doing some amazing work there. And she's also an inspirational speaker and certified leadership coach. And in 2016, People en Español magazine named Lucy as one of the 25 most powerful women in the US. And she's been featured on numerous media outlets, including CNN en Español and Ocean Drive magazine, amongst others. And in 2016, she was also awarded the Key to the City of Miami for her contributions to the city's business and philanthropic landscape. I want a key to the city. How do we get one of those keys? Can we get a copy of the keys?
I'm trying to figure out which is the door that it opens, but I got it. I mean, I was honored. I'll keep trying.
It opens many doors. It opens many doors.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Lucy, you've had such a great career and unbelievable success. And this show is all about inspiring others on their journey who perhaps haven't gotten there yet, or on their way. And they look to people like you, right? Leaders like yourself, women like yourself that have done so many great things. Tell me a little bit about, growing up and what was it that you wanted to be as a 6-year-old, as an 8-year-old, 10-year-old? What were you looking to be? What do you think your calling was at the time?
How long do we have? Long story.
About 25, 30 minutes.
I want to share a little bit, since the show's name is Game Changers. Let me tell you about my game-changing philosophy that's going to weave into your question about.
There you go. Perfect.
Growing up. So I think I almost have like a special talent to thrive in the unknown, Sergio. And so I kind of call it, and my friends kind of call it, the Lucy's laws of gravity, because somehow I'm like a cat. I always land on my feet, regardless of why. And it's really because I think if we hold on to our history and things that happened in the past, we often do it at the expense of our destiny. And so it's very important to me that I don't put energy in the things in the past and just kind of charge forward, use that fire instead of just using that energy and fire and then pass in the future. And I say this because when I was a little girl, I was born with a congenital heart problem. And so it was not until the age of 9, and my middle name is Miracle, that they discovered it. So I'm not even supposed to be here, right? And so
wow.
Think about manifesting things. Like later I worked for a children's hospital, but when I'm talking about this ability to like defy gravity, they discovered it at 9. They actually did the surgery. I was fine. And then once I get back home a couple of years later, my father goes to the horse races in Puerto Rico, where I'm from, and he has a stroke and he passes away. And so that all of this experience were shaping where I wanted to be. Not once I felt sorry for myself. At that point, my life changed. My mother, I only have one brother and he lived in Pennsylvania. So my mother's and my situation changed, and financially changed, personally changed. So we were compelled to move. I never intended to leave the island of Puerto Rico. I knew I wanted to do something special. And I knew that given the circumstances, I was put here on earth to do something special. You know how they say that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. So we were compelled to move. My brother lived in Pennsylvania, so I was given the choice. I was always a really good student in spite of everything, all the external circumstances, death of my father, my illness, and so I was accepted into Penn State, and I chose to go to Penn State, and it was a culture change. You know, at the time it was in the 80s, so my English wasn't really good looking. So like Celia Cruz used to say, so I was in this environment, and again, you know, realizing that talent to thrive in the unknown. I think at the time the university had 45,000 students, but only like 2% of the students were Latino. So finding your cultural niche was also a challenge. And I did well, and that's when I decided that I liked law. So I decided to go to law school at the time because I wanted to effectuate change. I wanted to leave a mark and kind of leave things and better than I find them. Right. So at the same time.
Let me interrupt you a minute. So when you were 9, let me take it back a minute. And you found out that you had this heart disease. Did you realize what it was, or did your parents just say, "No, it's okay, you're fine, you're going to keep going"?
I was very involved in the process, and I was even though I was a very shy, quiet young girl, and it's interesting because when I say that I was very shy, people don't believe me now. I'm still to some degree very shy, you know? But I was really, I like to read a lot. And so I was really involved in the process. I totally understood what was going on. And when I started at Penn State, my major was pre-med because of that very reason. But I cannot see blood.
Oh my gosh.
So I soon changed to something in the legal field, and I knew whether it was law or medicine, I wanted to just make a difference, and I wanted to help people.
Okay, so that kind of helps shape and point you in a direction that maybe you weren't going in before.
So now I'm married, I'm in college, and so I'm graduating from college, going to law school, first year of law school. I'm thinking, okay, so there's some sense of normalcy. And so my mom gets diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a horrible disease. Yeah. And so they tell me that she's going to last me 3 years. And my mother was my pillar. You know, she had been my everything. And so it was really difficult. It was traumatizing. And so I decided I need to take care of my mom. You know, I'm married, but my mom is at the core, and I have to complete my law degree. So I get pregnant with a child at the time. And so through the whole process, my marriage fell apart. So when I graduate from law school, I'm now a single mom of a preemie baby, and the sole caregiver of a terminally ill parent.
Oh my gosh.
So not real, the fairy tale, but you know, just again, you know, that talent to thrive in the unknown. You never said back, not once, Sergio, I thought back, you know, why has my life been so challenging, right? I always thought to myself, you know, there's a reason why all this learning is happening. And so I managed to graduate from law school, and you know,
so you never felt any kind of victimization. You never felt like you never questioned, man, why am I getting all these bad breaks?
On the other hand, I felt like a sense of pride, like, you know, I am here to defy gravity. And that was the message since I was little, right? So I'm here for a reason. I'm here because I need to be. And so I had not taken the bar, and I had no job, and I had to take care of my mom and my son. So I get a job, but I got a job not in the Northeast where we lived, in Florida. So that's how I ended up down here in a general counsel's office of a telecommunications company. In North Florida. And so it was great. I had the opportunity to learn a lot, but 10 months, 11 months into the job, the company goes belly up because it was in the rise and fall of the telecoms. And I'm thinking to myself,
man, here we go again. Why can't I just stay on my feet?
are you kidding? So now I am thinking, okay, I really need to pass the Florida bar and get another job. And so I take the Florida bar, very, very proud to say that I passed it the first time around. But by the time I got the results back, I had to find a job. So I had no real time. And that's when I got into fundraising. Many people ask me, because the University of Miami had just hired Donna Shalala to be the president.
Right.
And I worked in Penn State in fundraising. And so I was hired to work in what they called at the time, the Office of Plan Giving. And Donna had set out she wanted to raise $1 billion, the first $1 billion campaign in this community.
I remember that.
You recall. So she had forecasted that 30%, because she's a brilliant woman, was supposed to come from some type of structured giving, which is plan giving. That was the office that I was. And so my boss was an expert on that, and he was just amazing. But a couple of months after the announcement of the campaign, guess what happened?
He left?
My boss resigns, right?
Oh
So I'm found in this office by myself with
having to raise $300 million.
$300 million. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I know she was going to give me a piece of cake. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, you know what? After all that I've been through, this is a piece of cake. So Donna Shalala, she was a very fair leader. And so we conducted a national search to find a replacement for my boss. But that took time. I continued to do what I needed to do. I remember I used to be the last one to leave my office because I had my learning curve was pretty big. And sometimes you make sacrifices. One of them that I remember is not being able to get home on time to put my baby to sleep, and checking in with the nurse aides because they were taking care of my mom, and I created a support system. And as businesswomen working on career and being the it for everything at home, you do what you have to do. So after they conducted the national search, they realized that I was the best man to do the job. So they gave me the position, and under my leadership at the end of the $1 billion campaign, we raised $333 million at the University of Miami. So wow. I was super thrilled with that. And so
tell me about, okay, so not everybody would accept, not accept, but face that challenge with that mentality of like, yeah, I'm gonna, I got this. What do you think keeps you so confident? Like, what is it? What's in the water that you drink that's making you so confident throughout all these challenges that people can apply themselves when they face their challenges?
Well, I think that that mentality of I'm here to defy gravity, as is been demonstrated by my life itself. And when I say that, the element to just be my, having a congenital heart disease and just the fact that you defy that. And
so you look at your past, the times that you've overcome challenges, that builds your confidence, right?
You look at your past, not to dwell on your past, but to learn from it and to get that fuel to charge forward. And even looking at my mom's disease, kind of, not to sound cliche, but like that book, Tuesdays with Morris, which is such a beautiful book, because patients that have this degenerative motor neuron disease, they get this second look at life, and they realize that, you're here for a purpose, and you're here for a short moment. So make the best of it. What complaining is not going to resolve anything.
Right.
And
dwelling on the problem is not going to resolve anything.
Absolutely. I think he was Winston Churchill that used to say, if you're going through hell, just keep going.
That's a good one. Yeah. There's no need to stop and look around, right? Keep going.
I think it is what it is. And so and you'll see through life. I'm at the point in my life in which I'm looking back and again, just for learning, not for holding on to history, and thinking, oh my God, everything that I did exactly the way I needed to do it, because it's taking me to where I am right now. And so, anyways, I was telling you the story. So once I got that great success, I'm looking also at the fact that my mom, they told me she was going to last me 3 years when they diagnosed her. It's been more than that, and she's still alive, which is another miracle that gives me the hope to move forward, a blessing. And so, the doctors can say that the patients will have X amount of years, but your essence is what keeps you going. So she's still with me, and I'm thrilled about that. And so I get one day a call from in the middle of the morning, and after the campaign was over and there was success. And so they called me and they said, there's a children's hospital. I did not know where the children's hospital was. So they call me in the morning and they take me, to a tour of the walls of the hospital. Of course, it's a children's hospital. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so amazing. Another one of my, it's in my bucket list, right? Of helping children like me. And so the job offer is great. At this point, I'm in my early 30s. I'm thinking it's a president and CEO of a foundation that's making such a great change in our community. But for one split second, this is probably what another game-changing moment. I remember that like shy little girl, and things were stable. Like, why would I leave now? Money was just coming at the University of Miami. I was doing so well. Why would I change that to yet, risk of being
another challenge, right?
And another challenge. So I went to my mom, and she's on her wheelchair, and I say to her, Mom, they offered me this job, and I don't know. I think everything is stable for the first time. And she said, Mija, de los tontos no se ha escrito nada. I mean, Puerto Rican say it differently. Yeah. But, essentially nothing has ever been written about cowards. And that's so right. she really just gave me that. So I took the job. I became the president and CEO of the Miami Children's Foundation. And there it was great because I not only was raising the money, but I was also growing the money, and they had close to $100 million in assets for the children. And so I had to not only raise the money, I had to grow the money part, manage the money, and grant the money to the hospital. So it's a bigger responsibility. And so I was doing very well from year one. I think when I started the foundation, they were raising about $4 million, and then just tweaking things and using some of the experience and in fundraising, we went from 4 million to double it the next year. But, just 12 months into it, life hits me again. Just 12 months into it, as I'm doing great, life hits me again. So my mom stops breathing. And so we lose the battle to the terrible disease. And, her death was really one of the saddest moments in my life, and a very hard one, because she had been my strength and the person that taught me how to have this mentality. But there's when another law of gravity, one of the Lucy's law of gravity kicks in, which is, when life hits you, it is actually an opportunity to come back bigger, better, stronger than ever. So, we
learn more from the setbacks than the successes. Right?
Yeah, as my close friend Armando Pitbull uses that all the time, and he also says that every day above ground is a good day.
So good day.
Exactly. Honor blessings. He's so amazing. And so I continued. I in the memory of my mom, we moved from 8 million to 10 million to 26 million. Actually, when I left in 2016, we had raised $76 million that year.
Wow.
We did
4 million at the start to 76 million. That is unbelievable.
We did $150 million campaigns, and we finished the campaign 2 years ahead of schedule. We changed the name. I changed the name of the hospital to the Nicholas Children's Hospital.
Yeah. That was. Tell me about that. How did that come about? That is such a cool partnership. I mean, one of the legends, Yeah,
for First Family of Golf, who are just amazing human beings, and so.
Are you a golfer?
No, I didn't even know. I know. At the time, I was like, I have to go meet this guy, Jack Nicklaus, and my friend said, "You mean Jack Nicholson?" I said, "No, Jack."
Yeah, the actor. No, the golfer. The golfer, Jack
I
Nicholas.
think he plays golf.
And he called himself a bear, the Golden Bear.
The golden bear. And so that process took about 5 years. So, put in perspective how in fundraising is like life. You have to be very patient and
Right.
tenacity and stick to it. And so it was a great experience to have a transformational gift like that under your leadership, to look back now at the landscape of Miami and have played a part in that architecture team of the people that are over the last 20 years have changed what Miami is today
Sure.
from what it was. So it was just amazing. And so, again, like, putting in retrospect now, creating all the friendships and with celebrities and donors and being part of Miami is how I didn't let the legacy of or the tainting, letting my history taint my destiny, right? Because it had given me the opportunity to be where I am right now. So from that point on, the defying gravity has been my motto. I have been in CNN. Every opportunity I have to share my story, I take it. I've been blessed, like you said, to be recognized for these and be in platforms where I can inspire, if I can, in the most humble way, from CNN to the United Nations, and talk about children's healthcare, talking about women in business, talking about women in philanthropy, Hispanic women in philanthropy, which, it's something that has changed quite a bit over the last couple of years, but we were a rarity at the very beginning. And so just define gravity in general. And now, using all of that experience when I stepped down from Miami Children in staying true to myself and not only setting goals are great, but finding purpose is more important.
Yeah, it's a massively transformative purpose. You need to have a purpose that you're going after to find the fuel for what you're doing.
So we created this new company, LMA Consultants, and I have the best business partner in the world, and Lisbeth Fernandez Viña, who is like the other side of my brain, because she's a marketing and communications expert. And so the intention is to kind of bring this experience in to the masses, to take an aerial look of some of the things that I've done in these organizations, healthcare, education, and kind of just use it for the betterment of our community. And so I was sharing with you before we went live that we started, and the intention was the non-for-profit space and sharing the experience and consulting and helping them scale up. But it has kind of morphed into some of the private sector as well, with the model of social enterprising. And Align, Connect, Lead is really our slogan, because it's really important for us that we help our clients align with their mission, internal mission, so that they can get better alignment with the external audiences. And so, it's just been a great ride. It's just fantastic, and positioning ourselves as a cross-cultural company that is kind of like a one-stop shop for many things, but especially to deliver the gold standard when it comes to authenticity and effective presence and just mission alignment and just doing what they are set to do better.
And so now, how in your experience now in the practice and so forth, what are you seeing the biggest difference being post-pandemic as businesses start up again? Obviously, not everyone's going back to work in their actual place of work. There are a lot of them are working remotely, et cetera, et cetera. How do you see business changing going forward post-pandemic?
Well, you know what? It's and I was sharing with you that I think business changed during the pandemic, and very smart businesses used the time in the pandemic to flip the mindset and use the downtime to strategize. Where people were watching Netflix and doing other things, we got a lot of clients that reached out to
retooling.
Yeah, let me use this opportunity to kind of regroup and reshift and reposition and change the way you do business so that now they can implement. So a lot of I think the connectivity has increased because now we have many organizations and many companies are just going to continue to do things by whether it's Zoom or this platform or some of the others. I think it makes it easier, more efficient. I mean, you spend a little bit less time in the car, especially Miami traffic, and time one-on-one. Sometimes you feel like you're working a little more than you would otherwise work, but you're home. Like I was sharing with you, as sometimes I'm working from my home office. I don't know that I will ever go back out there, and your cost efficiency is heightened. It's just a different way to do business, and sometimes you get to integrate your family life even more when you are in this space. So I think the pandemic brought some challenges, but just like my life, I think it brought a lot of opportunities and things that are positive that, if we look at them, we can use them to defy gravity.
Right. And it depends how you look at things, right? I always tell people to take the point of view that everything happens
For a
to,
reason.
for you, not to you, right?
To
Like not a victim, but everything happens for a reason. And, what I see happening as well is a lot, instead of work-life balance, I'm seeing a much more of a blend, right?
Yes.
Like kind of like a work-life blending. And it's okay to, leave early and go get your kids and then get back to work afterwards. And, as long as you get the job done, I think that's more acceptable now as well.
Absolutely. I actually have my 21-year-old here, and then I have my four-legged son. I have a Weimaraner. And for the interview, I said, listen, usually for meetings, you guys, it's okay if you bark and it's okay if you make noise.
Yeah. For this one, put them over there in the garage.
But it's great to have them here because you get to see them, you get to connect.
Yeah.
And they give you that energy, which if you are in a remote office location, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. So speaking of kids and having, you having worked at the children's hospitals for so many years, mental health for kids it's huge, right? I think it's a huge issue that needs to be addressed, especially post-pandemic, and the whole mask wearing and almost kind of creating a bit of a phobia to germs. And I'm really concerned about that, just in general, of kind of the scar it's left, right? And how can they overcome that? What are your thoughts around that? And do you think that's going to have like an impact for families going forward?
No, it's definitely going to have an impact. But and it's very interesting you bring that point, because one of the hardest areas to raise money for at Miami Children's was mental health, because
Really?
it's not sexy.
Wow.
It's not sexy. I mean, you do galas, you do things, and you convey.
You can't touch it, you can't see it. There's not a visible scar.
Not the kid with the bald head. It's not.
Right.
And it permeates through all different things, like gastro issues, through the kids had like all kinds of things that were all stemming from mental health. And
Correct.
conveying that message and trying to get donors to support that was very interesting. Sometimes they didn't want to really support it because they didn't want to send a red flag that there was something happening at home for the stigma, which is
right.
even more difficult. But I think that the again, and this is just my I guess the floor of my personality, always looking at the positive and whether the glass is half full. The pandemic is giving the opportunity, and not only the pandemic, everything that we have gone through, to put these things at the forefront, and to, as human beings, understand that we're all in this together, and it is happening. And if there is needs to help, whether it's through fundraising or other types of help, it's happening to many more of us than we think. So there's no need to be stigmatized. So I think it's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference in children's hospital. I think it's going to make a difference in mindfulness. Mindfulness is very important to me. It's very important. It came to me, mindfulness and meditation, through my business partner, who is actually certified in that space. But it is now part and parcel of everything that we do, whether it's executive coaching or strategies, because I think it helps the mental health aspect of things, on just being able to cope better, because you're not in the past, you're in the moment.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, a lot of times we dwell in the past. We beat ourselves up about mistakes we've made in the past and doubts that we have about, stemming from our childhood, right? Some things have happened, to us as kids at 6 years old that we still carry with us
Yeah,
for a variety of reasons.
misfortune.
So as we start to wrap this up, tell me about, who are your mentors in life? Who are the people that you always looked up to
Yeah.
as you were on your journey?
So I think through your different stages, you pick up
Different ones, right?
different ones. Obviously, always it's always been my mom, as you heard,
Right.
that resiliency, that just way of looking at things are, instead of challenges, as opportunities, and defying gravity in general. And then in the professional world, I've always had a mentoring is super important. So I had Teresa Weintraub Valdez Fowley has been my mentor for many, many, many years. And she got me involved in this organization, International Women's Forum, which is an international organization for preeminent women. And she became the president of the global space. And I'm now the vice president and president-elect of the Florida chapter. So it's great because they give you a benchmark and they give you the milestones to reach, right? That's what mentoring is. And they help you
Yeah.
along the way. I also have I've been involved ever since college with a Big Brothers Big Sister program, and I have a little sister that it was this young lady that was in, I think, in junior high when I met her, and I stayed with her through her development, and she ended up going to Penn State, graduating, and now
No way. That's
not only
awesome.
that, she was on TV many times. She was one of the stars in Gotham, the show.
Really?
Wives. She's like a my superstar. So I see her,
Yeah.
and it's like my first child. So she's one of those mentors, because you learn not only from the people you receive, from
Right.
the
Right.
people you give, but things have changed now. So now, believe it or not, one of my mentors and the person I learned the most is my son.
Interesting.
My
Tell me more. Tell me
my
more.
21-year-old is I mean, I, all throughout watching mom run here and there, and taking care of him and getting home late, you judge yourself sometimes. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? And as I see him now at 21-year-old, about to graduate from University of Florida, studying for the LSATs to go to law school, started an application that
Wow.
is now on the Apple Store called String AI. No free advertisement here, right? But, it's just that intensity that he has, and that tenacity, and that thing that I guess I didn't see it, but I see it in him. But at the exponential level, sometimes I tell him, oh, wait, you're too intense for me. But what a role model. I mean, what an amazing mirror for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a parent, there's nothing more special to see your kind of actions, your behaviors, like exemplified and demonstrated, manifested in your kids.
Yeah.
So we actually have an example. So my wife just started a fantastic job at Florida Blue, and she's very, very happy with it. And her dad passed away a couple of years ago from a stroke. And one of the things she wished she can do is to call him up and let him know about the job and how happy she is and stuff like that. And she couldn't do that, right? And that it really kind of it hurt her. But my daughter was here, and she saw her and upset and crying a bit. And so she went to the room and she set up a beautiful little area there with a little toy dog that her dad used to have in his house, and some little balloons and stuff like that, and wrote a little note and put some candy. And so our 8-year-old, it was such a touching moment. And so it's funny that you mentioned that, because it was just yesterday that this happened.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I was like melting, and my wife as well. We're like, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
That is amazing. That's so beautiful.
So
And they learn. They learn. But you know what? Feel good because she is your gift to the world. But
exactly.
feel good because that is a reflection of who you guys are.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, and like you said, sometimes you're running around hustling all day, you're doing so many things that you don't really stop to realize it. Cause it's it's like drips, right? Little drops every day, but the bucket starts to fill up. And one day you see the bucket filled and you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations on her. That you've done.
Yeah. So Lucy, as we wrap up, so you've been doing some amazing things. You're absolutely a game changer. Was there a moment in your life, and maybe it was at, when you found out about the heart disease, or it was another one, that was like a game-changing moment that you really like pivoted and you took off, something changed in your mind? Or was there a number of them?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think that, so when my mom passed,
Yeah.
it was in the wake of the Diamond Ball, which was my creation, the gala for Miami Children's. And so I think it was the day before.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was that moment in which you say, okay, so now what? I felt like the floor had moved from under me.
Right.
It was actually the kickoff of the event, because it was in May and this was October. So I attended the event anyways, in memory of my mom, of everything that she stood for, of everything that she taught me, of everything that I was because of her. And I think I mentioned it when we were talking about that crucial time when I lost the battle to the disease, that, it was my moment of just saying, my God, okay, enough already. Let me celebrate, right? Everything.
Let me celebrate a win here.
But at that moment is when I had that game-changing moment in time, when you say, this is the opportunity to continue to be bigger, better, stronger, and charge forward, for the legacy that she's leaving, for what is expected of me and for her.
Unbelievable. I love it. I'm so inspired. Woo! I love it, Lucy. Oh yeah, you've been a real game changer. Thank you so much for being on. I'm sure that people are going to love this episode. I mean, there was so much good content in here and such an amazing, story. And continue doing what you're doing, because you're serving the community, you're serving with purpose, you're serving with passion, and only great things can come from that. So congratulations on your success.
You too, Sergio. Thank you for being such a great voice. Thank you so much for having me.
If you loved what you heard in today's episode of Game Changers, please subscribe and rate us. The lessons and the stories in these podcasts are immensely valuable, so I invite you to share them with a friend who needs to hear it. You may end up being the game changer in their lives.